lies the crown.
Heavy lies the crown.
Yeah, right.
Do you think the scrutiny of LeBron is unfair?
No. First of all, we can all establish that there is clearly an increased scrutiny on LeBron James. Yeah, when he does it, it's different than when Pop does it. But let's not just brush aside the fact that when Pop rests all his starters or the Golden State Warriors rest all theirs, we still talk about it. We still talk about it being wrong for the fans, being wrong for the league. But is there a little extra attention when the best player of our generation does it? Yes. And it's well-deserved, Dominique. This criticism, it's odd to me that LeBron, in fact, I don't even buy it. When he says, I don't understand why there's more attention when I do it, he's either A, well, lying, or B, being willfully ignorant of the fact that he's the greatest player on the planet. With that comes extra attention. Is he requiring that it all be positive? I think LeBron's the greatest player, well, definitely since Jordan, and he's definitely in a top 10 all time. When it's all said and done, he'll be easily a top 5, and he'll be in the debate for what the best player of all time. But that doesn't require me to assume that everything LeBron James does is right. And when he sits out, it deserves scrutiny. He is the emblem, the logo, all due respect to Jerry West, of this league. He doesn't get to choose, decide when he gets to act like all the other players in the league and when he gets special attention. He doesn't get to, like...
He does get to decide that.
No, he doesn't get to decide.
Because he is the best in the league. They pay him much less than he is worth. So in exchange for that, he gets power, and he gets to do with it what he wants. And so the reason why I disagree with you, like, he should certainly get more attention, but he's getting scrutinized unfairly because he made the example. When Pop was doing it, everyone said it was smart. I think the reason why people are comfortable with Pop doing it and not LeBron doing it is because LeBron refuses to fit into the archetypes that we have all come to expect from athletes. He is the coach. He is the owner. He is the general manager. He gets to make these decisions. If there was a coach making these decisions, as it was when Pop was doing it, we would applaud and clap and say how smart he is, which we did do. Now, when it's clear that LeBron is deciding when to sit, we have a problem with it, and it all stems back to the decision, which I will defend to the end of my life as an okay and a decent thing to do. It goes back. People hate him because of that, because he won't fit into what you believe an athlete should do or how you believe an athlete should behave. He's not just an athlete. He's an executive. He's a movie mogul. He's everything that all of us wish that we can be, and he still wakes up and plays ball like the Renners do every morning. So, I mean, the man is more than we expect, and we should treat him with the respect that he's earned.
No. But you're assuming that this criticism of LeBron is coming from a place of hatred. I agree with you. The decision was an entire faux pas, and it did get him a lot of negative attention. But this isn't because people hate LeBron.
It is.
This is because people love LeBron.
No.
I feel like there's this odd requirement in sports media that if you're the greatest of all time, somehow you're above criticism. Somehow you're above anybody looking at your actions and saying that it's wrong. Listen, LeBron has been awarded, yes, you're right, less money than he deserves, but other things that players do not get. He has got to pick and choose which coaches coach him. He's got to pick and choose which players play for him. He's got to complain about his roster and manipulate that roster every step of the way. He gets the most endorsement money of any player over, 20, 30 years, all time, actually. It's all of these things. And then we say, all we want is to see you play. All we want when we buy a ticket is for you to be on the court. All we want when we turn on the television is to see you there. And he thinks that's unfair.
And you're saying that those things that he has to do are rewards. Being a GM is not a reward. He's had to do it because the teams that were because the people that surrounded him failed him. He had to pick up that slack because they failed him. And so it's not a reward, it's an extra burden. And all I'm asking is that we respond to him the same way we did to Pop and saying that it was a good thing. And we're starting to compare him to players like James Harden and Westbrook and Steph and saying how much they play and they don't play. They aren't LeBron James. He's been to the finals almost every year. He has more minutes on his body than anybody else.
You're illustrating my point.
His responsibility is to win championships. It's not to come out and show up to like random games in the middle of March.
If you disagree, and this is an opinion I've espoused on this program, that this is somehow not bad for the league, players resting, I certainly am in the camp that it's unfair to the fans, it's unfair to the television audience, it's unfair to the ticket buyer, it's unfair to television partners, it's unfair to the executives that pay billions of dollars for these rights. It's unfair in every way. In fact, it's more than unfair. It's simply bad business. It is actually being a
I
business
agree with all of that, but aim your ire at the people that are responsible for it. No, LeBron is behaving in accordance with his incentives in the system and the way that it's
constructed. If you believe all that, the way I do, then you have to look at LeBron and you have to criticize these choices. By the way, Pop does get criticism. The Warriors do get criticism.
Now they do.
But
they
they're
didn't
not,
get that criticism.
And I would
But the question is it more? Because
LeBron's is clearly more.
Okay, but last week we saw the Warriors sit out all of their players. Do you think that criticism matched what LeBron got? I just think it was built up because we saw it the Saturday pass, and then we saw it this Saturday, and it was LeBron. So I just think it built.
Well, I think
up
that's a
to
good
that point,
and I think that can't be overlooked. The fact that it's sort of a building momentum
Correct.
issue. But even if it weren't a building momentum issue, and even if it were simply an issue of disproportionate scrutiny and attention on LeBron versus the Warriors, that's not unfair. Dominique,
I don't think that is unfair. I think the way is...
I just think it's incredibly childish to say I'm different than every other player when it benefits you, and incredibly childish to then turn around and when it's negative to say I want to be treated like everybody else. You either are different or you're not. You accept the burdens and you accept the benefits of that fact. This, by the way, is one of the burdens. People love you. They want to see you play. The benefits are, and by the way, it's not a burden to pick your roster. It's not a burden to pick your coach.
Is.
Take a vote on how many players would like to have that burden. I bet I win that debate.
No. It's definitely a burden. It's the added responsibility. And he's not getting compensating for that, just as like he's not getting compensated.
I bet Carmelo would like that burden.
Well, I think everyone would like having a good GM. They don't necessarily want to be their own GM. He has to in many cases because he was not afforded that luxury. So he had to carry that weight. And I think that we all are just uncomfortable with him shattering the preconceived notions of what we think a player should be. And it's not, I understand what you're saying. It's okay for him to have to carry these burdens. He does carry these burdens, but he's allowed to point out that it's unfair.
But it's disproportionate. Agreed.
The coverage being disproportionate is not a problem. The way that it's characterized when it's brought to him is a problem.
Just to be clear, just because something is disproportionate doesn't mean it's unfair.
I agree.
Those aren't the
we
same
both
things.
agree that disproportionate is not unfair, but criticizing him in a way that we were unwilling to do to